Good morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on where you are connecting from. My name is Jody McNamer. I am a private real estate coach and trainer. And thank you for choosing to take the next several minutes with me. We're going to talk about how to find listings or how to find a home for your buyers. This is a huge problem that many of us are experiencing across the nation, where there's a shortage of inventory, and we need more properties in order to be able to show our buyers, or listings really right now are a paycheck. So if you need to get more listings, this class is definitely for you. If you need to find homes for your buyers that aren't currently listed, this is the class for you. So my company, again, Agent Broker Training, we've been around for the last 20 years or so, training and coaching real estate brokers across the nation. My background, of course, is been a real estate coach and trainer, owned a real estate brokerage, hold a real estate designated broker's license, and been around the block a couple of times on transactions. So happy to be able to help you on this strategy. I also own a company called McNamer.com. It's simply a lead generation company that generates high quality buyer and seller leads. So if you ever want to have a conversation about that, you're welcome to just reach out to me at my name, which is Jody, Jody, at McNamer.com, McNamer. All right, well, let's get right into it. So how do you find listings, or how do you find homes for your buyers and sellers? Well, I happen to be in the Pacific Northwest area, and the best way, or one of the best ways to do it, is to simply go and take a look at your expired and canceled listings. Now, there are thousands of classes out there that will teach you how to call on canceled and expired listings. But the way that I'd like you to consider would be to call a canceled and expired listing out of genuine, authentic need. So not calling them saying, hey, tell me why your house didn't sell. Hey, you know what? I think I know I can sell it. Hey, you know what? Can we just get an appointment? No, if you have a buyer that is looking in a specific area and you are not able to find a house, then it really is your responsibility to call all of those canceled and expired listings and at least see if they're interested in reselling their home. And if they are, then that may be a prospective home for your buyers. So you need to call them and you need to have a conversation with them, and say, hey, you know what, I noticed that your home is on the market. You've since taken it off. Would you still be interested in selling that home? Because I have a buyer that's actively looking in your area. Now, they may be very skeptical. They may be, well, yeah, I'm getting thousands of calls like this, and simply you can acknowledge that up front and say, you know what, I realize that you're probably getting thousands of calls, and many of them will say that they have a buyer, but I actually really do, and I'm genuinely trying to find a home for them. Would you consider still selling your home? And if it was the right one, then I'd love to have a conversation with you about that. So authentic conversations, very, very important. Now, as a result of that, that home may not be right for your buyer. So you just simply would ask them and say, hey, you know what, I have other buyers, or there's many other buyers in this market. Tell me a little bit about, why you took your home off the market, or what worked for you and what didn't work for you in working with real estate brokers. Because many real estate brokers just simply have failed to sell a home, either because maybe it was incorrectly priced, maybe it was incorrectly marketed. But you know what? The top reasons why people cancel and expire listings are because they weren't communicated with. That's the number one thing. They did not have active communication about what's happening, which is rampant in this industry. It's absolutely crazy that real estate agents wouldn't have conversations with their sellers. And the other reason is that people believe that their properties were not marketed correctly. So the way that you could work through that is you could simply say, hey, listen, I hear that a lot. That's why I offer a communication guarantee. If you do not hear from me at least once every week to give you a comprehensive update of what's happening with the sale of your home and showings and things that we're doing marketing wise, I would expect to be fired. Would that work okay for you if I could guarantee that for you? Another option would be to very, very clearly lay out your marketing plan and then, of course, follow through with that. So those are great ways to get listings, as well as a great way to be able to find homes for your prospective buyers. Well, many agents will ask me, well, yeah, but that's great. I go into the listing comments, I go into the homeowner information, and they've either blanked out all of their phone numbers, or they've put in their own phone numbers or some kind of bogus phone number. Yeah, that happens a lot, even though it shouldn't, but that's just the case. So what do? Well, there's a tool called Spokeo, and you have the ability to look up addresses, and it will give you the results of the people that are at those addresses. So again, you can just simply, and this is a random address, so let's see if somebody actually comes up. So if we go 150 Jefferson Avenue in Buckley, here's all of the people that we believe have been at that particular property. So it says 18 addresses found for Jefferson Avenue, Buckley, Washington. All right, maybe 150 Jefferson Avenue, Buckley, Washington. Okay, let's see if we've got one of those addresses. See results. 135 Jefferson Avenue. Oh, maybe they changed. Oh, you know what they did? So they zone this address actually commercial now, which is fascinating. Interesting, very, very interesting. Okay, this actually used to be an area that I grew up in, actually, in Buckley. So they've since redeveloped that. So we'll show you this address. We can see that we can look up all of the people then that are the current residents. So they developed this particular block, clearly made it some type of apartment housing or whatever, but it literally will go through and it will show every person that's in there, their age, their relatives, and we can take a look at some additional details for them as well. So if this happened to be an address that we were looking for with a listing, we can see that Kyle was there, born in '87. Here's his phone numbers. Didn't find an email address for him, but oftentimes you will see an email. So you can just simply call or email him or text him and just say, hey, Kyle, you know what? I may have a buyer for your property. Are you still interested in selling it? Text messaging is fantastic. Calling is excellent as well. Shooting email, but use Spokeo as a tool because you'll find that it really is extraordinary tool to be able to use. And some people will call it Spookio simply because it is a little spooky as far as the information that you can get from it. But that's how you would get the information on your canceled and expired listings. Another great way to get to be able to get listings is for sale by owners. Now, there's a couple of tools that you can use for sale by owner. Of course, there's forsalebyownr.com. Do it yourself, do it FSBO. And you'll see all you have to do is just search in your particular area. We'll look at Tacoma, which happens to be the area that I am taping in. And if we take a look at, here are all of the for sale by owners. There's 16 of them. And so for you to be able to manage these 16 properties, and this is just the Tacoma area, not Pierce County, these are people that are interested in selling their home on their own. Why? Because they really don't see the value in a real estate agent. So no matter how many times you try to convince them of your value, they already have the predisposition that real estate agents truly don't add any value. So what you have to do is you have to actually start adding value, paying it forward in advance so that you can demonstrate value and then earn the right to be able to take their listing. So how would you go about doing that? Well, it's not, Again, there's hundreds of classes taught on how to get for sale by owners and bait and switch techniques and all of these different things. I would encourage you not to take those classes, encourage you not to use those techniques. Again, go back to the authentic, really, what is the psychology of what a for sale by owner is looking for? Well, they're looking for saving money. They're looking for not having the experience of working with a real estate agent because perhaps they've had negative experiences in the past. Perhaps there's some perception in the market that, oh, this is easy with the market the way it is. I have no problems. But what they don't know is they don't have all of the facts in that, well, what about liability? What about contracts? What about escrow? And what are they going to do? And how does a transaction work? Well, we can't just blast them with that information, but over time, once we add value to them, we then can earn the right or ask for the business. So how would we make contact with 2537 South Cushman Avenue? Well, we can just simply click contact owner, and it gives us the contact James Power and their phone number. If for whatever reason the tool that we were using wasn't available, we could actually take a look at this information as well. Let's see, 401 North Cushman. I don't know that I'll waste all of the time doing this here. Let's see, 2537 South Cushman. Yeah, you'd actually have to go down to take a look at 2537 Cushman. So the information is provided for you, their name and their phone number. You can use Spokeo as well to get their email address or other information. You can also do that by just putting in their name, and it'll look for all of the James Powers across the country. So if we go and we click on Washington and we want to take a look at all the James Powers in Washington, we're actually looking for someone that is in the Seattle, Tacoma, Bremerton area. So Kingwood, Nevada City, here's Chehalis. Let's drill down a little bit more. And here we go, Tacoma, there's only 2 people. Here's one in Centralia and here's one. So most likely it's James Power, who's 33 years old. So let's take a look at James. If we take a look at the address, we see 3110 North 8th or 4922 North 29th. And then looks like he also lived on Fox Island or Leschi. So if we take a look at this particular property, this one happens to be at 2537 South Cushman, and we see that this property, the question becomes is it then a rental property as well? We don't know that, but what we're doing is we're in the process of really collecting information. Maybe he's a flipper. Because notice it says brand new construction home centrally located in Tacoma. So perhaps it was somebody that either purchased a lot, then bought a brand new home, or built a brand new home. We don't know the answer to that, but what we do know is that they're trying to sell it on their own. So if you were to develop a relationship with James, I wonder if James potentially is building houses in other areas. I wonder what James's experience was with a real estate agent and why he's not using one. Because once you start understanding those things, then you really can start providing value for them as well. So how do you go about doing that? Well, you simply would give James a call and say, hey, James, my name is Jody. I'm a real estate broker in this area, and I realize that you're getting thousands of calls from real estate brokers all telling you that you can't sell it on your own and that you should list with them. And I'm here to tell you that they are all lying to you. You absolutely can sell your home on your own. In fact, I love for sale by owners because it's kind of like my own private MLS. Now, that when you state something like that, of course, in your own words, that really is going to disarm them because it's going to be so contrarian to what everybody else is telling them, that they're going to stop for a minute and go, huh, you know what, this person could actually be different. Now, most likely they're still jaded because you are a real estate agent. Unfortunately, being a real estate agent and broker, happens to be in Washington State, not an agent, a real estate broker. Because you are that, you're just kind of grouped in. And unfortunately, real estate brokers have gotten a pretty negative, rap out there along the lines of attorneys, car salespeople, copier salespeople, because again, it's just there are people, and I'm sure none of them attending this class, that just are not good practicers of their trade. And you need to really be able to differentiate yourself. So when you ask people, hey, help me understand, I love MLS, or I love for sale by owners because it's like my own private MLS, then you have the ability to say, hey, if I do find a buyer in your particular area, would you be willing to pay a small commission? Then you can have a conversation about that. And they can say, well, yeah, I would. Well, my standard, then you can explain, hey, my standard fee is 3% if I was to bring a buyer. And I'd be happy to once I have one, or I already have one, or whatever that may be. And then perhaps we can, we can get your home under contract. And the vast majority of people are going to agree to that. They realize that real estate agents represent buyers. They want to get their property sold. So they're very, very open to that. Then you can also say, hey, you know what, James, you absolutely can sell your home on your own. In fact, what I'll do is let me email you over what I do in order to sell a home. And you literally email them over your marketing plan. You need to do flyers, you need to do, this, that, the other thing. And then just simply say, hey, you know what, I hope some of those things work for you. Now, what does that person have? He has a copy of the marketing plan that you use in order to sell your own homes. Now, that marketing plan also should be comprehensive and, quite frankly, overwhelming. Because for James to go out and do all of those things, all of a sudden he's like, wow, okay, this agent, in fact, is adding value because they do all of those things. So be thinking about that. Then when you call, maybe in a week or 2 weeks, and call him and said, hey, James, you know what, how's that home selling going? Did you get my email? Yeah, tell me, do you have it under contract yet? And if the answer is no, and you're just like, well, why not? What do you think is, what do you think's going on? And you start to troubleshoot with them. Well, hey, did you get the flyers out there? Are you having issues? Or are you just having a lot of people call and try to do a lease option, or other investors, or trying to lowball you? I mean, like, what are you running into? And really try to provide some value to them. And then you just simply say, hey, you know what I'll do is I have this template that I use for my ads, maybe on Facebook. You know what, let me send that over to you, and perhaps you can start running some advertising or something like that to try to, get more qualified buyers. And I hope that helps, and I hope you're able to get your home sold. And no matter what that second thing is, it's just an item of value. Now what you have is you have 2 items of value into them. And you're building this case for, wow, you know what, you're actually different than all of these other real estate agents. So because of that, the third time that you follow up, which by the way should be around that 25 to 28 30-day mark, is going to be too long. That is the time where for sale by owners are saying, wow, you know what, I guess maybe I can't sell this home on my own, and I do need some help. Well, guess who's in a fantastic position to be able to help them? It's you. And so it's just a fantastic strategy. Again, you're building and adding value. And so irregardless of their experience of agents before, you clearly have then separated yourself as someone that is different. And if you want another idea on this, there were 16 properties just in the Tacoma area. If we take a look at Zillow, again, no matter how you feel about Zillow definitely has some very, very good data, not necessarily on the prices of homes, but data as far as listings and such. And if we just take a look at the for sale by owners only in this particular area, there's 53 of them in Pierce County. So if you just, again, just make those contacts, with those 53 homeowners, and you can take those, make contact with those sellers, and you can do the same thing. You can just simply cut and paste the address, go through those results, find the owner. You can also look up owners, of course, on Realist or other tools. But for sale by owner, again, we're not talking thousands of homes that you have to go through. We're talking just a couple in your particular area. And when you can do that, hey, you know what? You get 1 listing, 2 listings, 5 listings. You know what? That's a paycheck in this market. And so, but most importantly, too, if you have a buyer, it's actually a home then that they can move into. So for sale by owners are excellent. Another great place to be able to get listings is pre-foreclosures. Now there's a distinction. There's a distinction between homes that have been foreclosed on. So like in this particular case, there's 31 homes that have actually been foreclosed on. And what's interesting about it is oftentimes the banks have not even relisted them. Otherwise, they would show up as a listing, but it's currently not listed. So what happens on that is that properties that aren't listed simply are just going through the process of transferring from the asset recovery department to the asset disposition department. So sometimes you'll see those homes in neighborhoods where they're just like, well, what is going on with that home? It's typically because they've been foreclosed on and either just in the process of going through disposition, or in some cases banks forget about them. And it's not that they forget about them, they just lose track of them because of the volume of foreclosed homes. So the distinction is a foreclosed home is where you need to make contact with a bank. And the bank then, because they now own the title to the home, it would be a possibility to be able to get a listing from them. So you can make contacts with banks. You simply just take a look at the deed, the foreclosure deed that was issued, and who it reverted to. And then simply you can use LinkedIn as a great way to be able to find asset managers. So you just simply take a look at LinkedIn, and you can just say, foreclosure. So, let's just say asset foreclosure, CLO, asset manager. So a foreclosure asset manager, and if you take a look through all of the different people, you can then start putting companies in there as well. But like here's Donna. Donna manages the asset and foreclosure portfolio for Main Street Asset Solutions. So this, again, may or may not be a person. Again, I'm just kind of doing this on the fly. But you can go through and just say, hey, foreclosure asset manager for Bank of America or for Chase Bank. And it will start to, here's the asset manager for JP Morgan Chase. Here's the REO asset manager. Sure, it'd be a great person to talk to. She also looks really fun. So she's the one that is managing all of these REO assets for JP Morgan Chase. Well, why not give her a call? And see if you could potentially represent them as listings, or at the very least, if they have a property that fits your buyer criteria, then say, hey, I'd love to put together a transaction with you. Hey, Sherry, are you up to that? So a really, really good option for you to be able to get listings. So the other distinction on foreclosures would be pre-foreclosures. Now notice there's 230 pre-foreclosures. So anybody has told you that, hey, foreclosures are a thing of the past, that's actually not the case. There's lots of things that create foreclosures. A lot of times maybe there's a death in the family or something happens. Maybe it's part of an estate sale. They just simply have not maintained the mortgage payments on it. Oftentimes there's also equity in those homes. So this really is just a matter of calling and having a conversation with them, texting them, again, using tools like Spokeo. You could actually even go knock on the door, and I would encourage you to use the strategy of hey, you know what? I've got somebody interested that might be interested in buying your house if you're interested in selling your house. You don't have to say, oh, hey, I noticed that you were in foreclosure. Well, that just brings up negative things for them. But it's just, hey, simply, I'm looking for homes in this particular area for one of my buyers, or I'm looking for homes in this particular area because there's just a massive number of buyers that are interested in that. Would you be interested in selling your house? And if so, I'd love to have a conversation with you. So if the answer is no, then you also could have a conversation or a text and follow up in a week and just say, hey, you know what? I did a little bit more research on your house, and it looks like the bank is in the process of taking your home. Would you rather would you rather say I sold my home, or would you rather say the bank took my home? It's a real, again, we're kind of, raising the heat a little bit in getting them to be able to motivate themselves, but also realize that, hey, you know what, the bank is going to come and take their home. Wouldn't it be better if they sold it? Well, and especially if they have equity, wouldn't that make sense? So it's all about having a conversation. The other thing is there are still a cash for keys program, other incentives to have people move out of their homes peacefully. And so every situation is going to be a little bit different. Every lender is going to be different. Every home and homeowner is going to be different. But nonetheless, these are homes that are going to be, irregardless, they are going to be sold and then repurchased. So why don't you be part of this? Why don't you work ahead of the process before it even goes to the bank? People are going to, thank you so much, especially people who want to buy homes in these particular areas. So be of service. Now, you may say, oh, you know what, this is just bank, short sales, they're not for me. Well, there's all sorts of professional companies that will negotiate short sales for you. The other thing is that banks now are set up and they understand the short sale process. There's a process for it. Way back in 2008-9, when things were melting down, banks didn't have processes in place in mass in order to do those short sales. So that really was was a challenging time. So I would encourage you to really at least just try pre-foreclosures. Because what you'll find is, boy, there's very few agents that are out here working this market, and it is a fantastic way to get listings. And also, of course, if you have those listings, resulting buyers will come from that as well. Another great avenue is called code enforcement. Now I'm going to share something with you. This happens to be the county that I live in. It's called Pierce County. And if you simply just go to pals.piercecountywa.gov, you can see that this is the online code enforcement database. Now, no matter where you live, there will be an online code enforcement database. So if you just simply Google Pierce County Online Code Enforcement Database, you will find a map or a spreadsheet or different ways to pull up the data. And all of these are code enforcement violations. And what that means is that a city, a county has a code that says, hey, you can't have trash cars. Hey, you can't have things parked on the side of the road forever. Hey, you can't have garbage piling up or weeds or vegetation, because we have to have some type of decency in this particular area. So what they do is neighbors will complain and they will get written up. They will get written up. They'll serve a complaint, and that complaint is designed to have somebody clean up that mess. So I'm going to take you through that. So number one, you're going to want to find this code enforcement database in your particular area. In this particular case, this one is Pierce County. You can literally just click through in the neighborhood that you're looking in, and as you can see, there's quite a few code enforcements. And this happens to be a solid waste garbage trash issue. Now, you may say, why would I want to have a listing that has problems with waste, garbage, and trash? Well, the answer is that there's about 10 days of inventory. in this particular area where I'm taping from, and we have to get listings. And guess what? Some of these listings are not going to be pretty, but you'd be amazed at how many people are buying non-pretty houses because inventory is not out there. And you can have rehab loans and all sorts of things. You can pay people to actually take the trash out. And once you get really good at it, again, you'll have a steady stream of listings. And after all, that's what this class is about. So just stick with me on this one. So when you click on that, then this takes you to the information about this particular code enforcement violation. And it says, hey, house has multiple junk vehicles in the right-of-way in front of house, household garbage piled up. Let's see, on the east side of the house, dogs and cats that are neglected, open ditch. I mean, there's quite a few complaints. And if we go back to the original, it was assigned to a code enforcement officer. And on August 7th, arrived at Listediga, regarding a complaint of junk vehicles. I was able to make contact with the property owner's daughter. See, I think this is kind of interesting. So the property owner's daughter who lives there, they're in the process of selling the house to her kids, and they would be cleaning it up. Now, the question is that going to happen, or is that not going to happen? Well, we can see that this is an ongoing issue. So listed in order to deliver the litter credit application, the compliance plan, and junk vehicle affidavit. So basically, it's now escalated, saying, hey, listen, the city, we're going to get involved in this thing, and we're going to actually haul the junk vehicles out. We're going to do this work. And then, by the way, we're going to charge the homeowner for it as well. So it says, I was contacted by the property owner responsible party who told me she did not get the credit app. And again, it just goes on and on to see they hadn't cleaned anything else. The property owner rep called, said they were working on it, and hopefully it would be done. It just goes back and forth. So this is a problem. This is definitely a problem. And when the code enforcer first came out, was it the daughter? Was it not the daughter? Well, the reality of it is that this was just simply a renter, and the renter in this property needs to get out, and it's a problem for the homeowner. So there's these types of situations. There's hundreds of them. And while this one may be an extreme situation, no doubt, look at where this particular property, though, is located. It's literally right here. It's right down this little street, and unfortunately Google Maps won't take me, but it's literally right there. And so if you look at this neighborhood, I mean, this neighborhood is actually a very, very nice, lot of pride and ownership neighborhood. And also then, thus, why there's so many complaints. You'll see that in the code enforcement database. There's a lot of complaints from people because they have pride in their neighborhood. And boy, I'll tell you, it would be great for you to bring a new buyer in. So how would you go about doing this? Well, ultimately, what you would do, again, you've got the address for the property. You would just simply put the address in to Spokeo or Title, a company, or whatever that may be. I couldn't find that address. Here we go. Boom. 70 Court East. Wait for it to actually come up. I think this was Puyallup. Maybe not. Oh, Street Court East. Here we go. Puyallup. Let's see. I've done something wrong. But that is all you actually do have to do is you put that, there's Waller Road. Well, I'm not gonna mess around playing with it. All you have to do is, literally cut and paste the address. It's just they didn't recognize the address as being full. You actually do need to have the address, the city, and the state in order for that to work correctly. So code enforcement, fantastic way to find listings as well. Now, I didn't say that all of this was going to be a slam dunk easy, but if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. And not very many agents are doing it. And once you get good at it, all you need to do is develop a relationship with a trash out person. Really, I mean, buyers help paint the picture that they're going to be able to rehab the property. Cash for keys programs to get renters out. There's all sorts of things that you can do in order to be able to deal with these And again, there are some that are worse than others. So maybe as you go through this code enforcement database, look for the easier ones that are still creating issues for the homeowners. And again, a lot of these are just renter issues where they haven't maintained the home. And most likely, they may be having difficulty in other areas too. So boy, you could save the day with that particular homeowner and say, hey, help. I'll be able to take some of this burden off of you, and ultimately, let's see if we can just get a new buyer. Take the equity out of your home, and do with it as you may. So code enforcement is fantastic. The other great place to find listings would be estates. Probate estates, you can simply go to estatesales.net. There's estatesales.com, but it will show you all of the estates that are in your particular area. So if we just take a look at Tacoma, it happens to be, here's all of the estates that are happening, all of the estate sales. Now, some of these are going to be homes. Some of these are going to be estate sale liquidators, or people that have been in estate sales, they buy estates. There's really two opportunities here. One, to network with people that are in the estate business and say, hey, you know what, I know you buy the contents of homes. I'm interested in being able to list the property for sale. Is there something that we could do in order to be able to refer business to each other? As I'm encountering estates that need those things purchased, I'd be happy to refer to you. And if you see homes that they're ultimately going to put on the market, would you feel comfortable referring me? So there's a networking play. The other play would be is as estate sales are being held at particular homes, you not only can attend them, but you can also contact the owner and say, hey, I noticed that there's going to be a estate sale that's going to happen at your property. What are your plans for the home? And start that conversation there. So estates are really, really a great, and hey, you know what? Take a weekend, take a couple of days, out of your week. Go hang out, drive around some estate sales. Who knows, you might get some cool loot as well, and you might get a listing or two. Families, again, make sure that you have a lot of compassion in talking with families. This isn't a sales thing. You'll hear this from me over and over and over again, which is just be the authentic you. Care about people. They're going through, this is a challenging time for them. So be the service provider, be the person who's adding value. Absolutely essential to do that. The last thing that we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about tax foreclosures. So the other foreclosures that we looked at were mortgage foreclosures, meaning they weren't able to make their mortgage payment, therefore they're being foreclosed on. But there are tax foreclosures. That means that they're unable to pay for their taxes, and oftentimes it's been in excess of 3 years because they just don't foreclose, if you weren't able to pay a year's worth of taxes. But once it gets past 2 years on to 3 years, then all of a sudden the county or the city is saying, hey, yep, we've got some problems here. We really need you to cure this, or we're going to come and foreclose and take that property. Many of these are just either oversights or their estates or whatever they may be, but this happens to be a tool called Rebo Gateway. Rebo Gateway just pulls literally all of the tax foreclosures. We can just see the tax defaults right now in Tacoma. There's 851 of them. So all you need to do is just pick the area that you're in. You can actually then scroll down and say, okay, well, hey, who is it that I want to make contact with? Well, look at your particular area. Same thing, you can use a tool like Spokeo to find Thane or Anthony or Judy, and then just make contact with them. Reach out via text or email or phone call, or you can actually go knock on the door. What's interesting about it too is you can see whether these people in fact are owners or non-owners. And I think this is fascinating because the non-owners means that the notice of foreclosure actually was served on somebody that was a renter. So here you have a situation where this is a homeowner who has a renter in place that potentially is going to lose their house. So, it's just, you can be such a service provider in helping people, be able to make a bad situation good, help them be able to sell, get the equity in their home, help them to be able to work through that hardship. You also will get referral business from that. But again, whatever area you're looking in, just look for those tax foreclosures. So these are great ways to find listings for your buyer, or find homes for your buyers, or listings for yourself to create more inventory. These are strategies that are being used by very, very few people. And in the case of expired listings and canceled listings, they're typically just all calling and not really being authentic. In the case of for sale by owners, it's a huge, huge. What I went through is, it just works. It totally works. There's huge opportunity there if you use the contrarian strategy for sell by owners. And your pre-foreclosures as well. Be a service provider, right? Help them. Would you like to be able to say that you sold your house versus the bank took my house? Very, very important. Code enforcement, the estate sales, tax foreclosures. So hopefully you were able to pull some information out of this. And again, if you just apply one thing out of this, it's going to help you. It's going to help you get more listings as well. So again, my name is Jody McNamer. My company is called Agent Broker Training. These programs are sponsored by Gold Star Financial. And again, just appreciate them very much on being able to host me for these programs as well. And if you have any other questions, I would encourage you about mortgage and such, reach out to one of their loan officers. That's absolutely extraordinary, extraordinary platform. If you have any questions about training or other things, my private training practice is closed. But I do have an online training portal or training library that I can also get you access to. And again, you're just welcome to email me at Jody, Jody, at McNamer.com. And that'll get a note to me, and I'll have someone take care of that for you. And then, hopefully we'll get a chance to connect on another class. So again, I hope you found this information valuable, and I'll look forward to connecting with you next week.